What is up, my friends? It is Tuesday. What is today? July 2nd, I think it is. It's a beautiful day. I had a great day today. I was able to catch up with some great friends over the last couple days, and it made me kind of think about today's topic, which I'm going to jump right into. And the first thing I'm going to share is one of my favorite quotes of all time. And it is, "Show me your friends, and I will show you your future." Again, that's show me your friends and I will show you your future. And the reason that I'm talking about that today is because in one of my last videos, I talked about an energy audit, talking about the things that really take life away from you, drain you, suck your soul dry, versus the things that really add value to you. And as I was talking to a couple friends over the last couple of days, I realized the impact that the people around us have on us. And it's not insignificant. In fact, there was a study done that even correlated our earning potential to the median income of our 5 closest friends. They deduced that we are the average income of our 5 closest friends. Like, that's pretty wild to really break it down into like a numerical value, like our earning potential like that. And so the point is that it's so important. Hey, hey guys, thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it so much. Who we are around on a regular basis has so much to do with our own quality of life. And in addition to doing an energy audit, the things that give you life, the things that take away life, I really want us to examine the people that are around us in our life. Because not everybody that's in our life is going to be contributing in the same degree. And one of the things that kind of came up in one of the conversations that I had was the day my life changed forever. And the day my life changed forever was when I was a junior in high school, and I got invited to join this metal band. And these were like the cool kids that I kind of looked up to, mainly because they were always getting in trouble. And oh, by the way, my dad was the associate principal of the high school I went to, and we did not get along when I was in high school, right? And so what is that old saying, an enemy of my enemy is my friend? Well, it made me friends with the people that were also not getting along with my dad. Well, anyway, these guys were great guys, but they were getting in trouble a lot. They were doing drugs. They were getting suspended, expelled. And one day, I was walking to class, in between classes, and I'll never forget the moment. I was in this hallway that overlooked our courtyard, and it was all windows on one side. It was really bright. And a guy, I won't say his name, but he came up to me and he said, "Hey, you want to join our band?" And I said, "Well, yeah, absolutely." I was so floored that they would be even interested in having me join their band. And so I did. The first night I went over to practice was the first night that I got so high I couldn't even function in life. Like, I was so high, I was using my parents' van, Astro van, and it was in the middle of winter, and I couldn't back out of their driveway. It took all like 10 of them to help me back out of this driveway because I was so messed up. It was my first time ever smoking in a substantial way. I had smoked before. I'm talking about the marijuana, green, plant sort, not the, anyway, it wasn't legal back then. We'll just say that. But anyway, and, I got so messed up. And immediately when I came home, my parents knew. And they interrogated me. They gave me the fifth degree? I don't remember the saying. Anyway, and my life was never the same because the next time I went over to play with them, they did the same thing. And I did the same thing. And it wasn't too many times before I started buying my own. I started, selling. Eventually, I started experimenting with other drugs, and my life from that moment on, literally the moment that I went over to practice with them, because they invited me to join their band, literally from the moment I switched my friend group, you can correlate the quality of my life just going straight down for the next 4 years. It was brutal. And it was all because I changed my friend group. Okay? the point here is it's important for all of us to not just be like, que sera, sera, what shall be with the people that we have around us. We can't choose where we're born, the color of skin we have, our eye color, our hair color. We can't control a whole lot of things. But one of the most important things we can control is who we allow in our sphere of influence, who we are allowing close to us. And my friends, like, I cannot tell you enough, the quality of let me just start over. The quality of your life will be directly correlated to the quality of relationships that you have in it. The quality of your life will always and forever be directly correlated to the quality of relationships that you have in it. And that's why it is so important to make sure we are so intentional with choosing who we are around on a regular basis. So what happened? So I went way down the tubes. I ended up getting strung out. I ended up getting hooked to marijuana. Like I couldn't stop it. And this is from the guy that was, writing papers in high school about how it's not addictive, it's not habit forming, all this sort of stuff. And then I ended up getting addicted completely, and I couldn't stop it. And it took me straight down. Like that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, but I would never wish that on anyone, especially from a neurological and a psychological standpoint of development, because the prefrontal cortex of our brains, like the front part of our brain that makes good decisions, isn't fully developed in a male until 25. Okay? A female at 23, because you girls are always ahead of us guys. And when you start to do drugs or to take in substances like that, especially THC, all that sort of stuff, it literally gums up the formation of that prefrontal cortex. It's wild, the studies that have come out. There are also a lot of pro studies with medicinal purposes for like marijuana. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm just saying what happened to me is when I started smoking a lot, my life went straight down the tubes. And the reason that I started smoking a lot was because I changed my friends. And friends, like, when you change your social circle, your whole life will change. I started off this broadcast saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It's absolutely true. Like, and I also, like I said, is that there was a study done that correlated our income earning potential to our average 5 people that we're around. Like, that's wild if you think about it. And so, and I know that to be true in my own life. Like, I remember the day I was praying, like, Lord, I would just love to make $40,000 a year. Like, that was my big ask. Like, I was like, Lord, if you could possibly, maybe I could make $40,000 a year. Cause I had done like social work. I worked with at-risk youth, and it was one of the best jobs I ever had. So many of my Rawhide guys I'm still in contact with. I love them all. Like, literally all of them. There's none that I have an issue with or anything. And it was some of the best years of my life. It was so fulfilling. Unfortunately, it just didn't pay for anything. Like, and it was just so, like, they provided housing and everything like that, but it was just, the earning was just not there. And if I wanted to earn more, I would have had to go back to school to get a master's degree, and then that would have put me further removed from the kids that I wanted to work with, so that wasn't really an option for me. So anyway, so I was at this point in my life after I had left Rawhide, and I was kind of in this new season of life, and I was just like, God, if you could just, $40,000. I was praying, and sure enough, my friend group changed, and what I earned radically changed. I mean, it's like hilarious how silly $40,000 must have been to God for me to ask of it, because what I ended up doing was far exceeded that. But it happened when I changed my friend group. I changed the people that I was connecting with on a regular basis. I got mentors to help me in the area of finances, mentors to help me in the area of business. And guys, like, in every area of life, there's like a couple critical areas of our life. There's our relationships, there's our finances, there's our mental health, our spiritual health, there's like our career, there's like our purpose. Like, these are like the big ticket, like, pieces of our life. And if all of them are going great except for one's really, really, really bad, it brings all the rest of them down. And what you want to do, and if a whole bunch of them are really kind of performing poorly, it is a hard life. And I want to tell you right now that your relationships and the people that you choose to be around in any area of those, like any pieces of that pie, will radically affect the quality of your life. And so in the last video I did, I talked about doing an energy audit about the things that we do every single day that either add value and life to us or take away. But what I want to talk about today is the people that are around us. Okay? And so there are a lot of people that we can't control whether they're around us all the time. Maybe you're a kid and you're at home all the time because you're not 18 yet. Well, you can't control that, right? There's just nothing you can do about that. But what you can control is who you're around outside of home. Okay? You're married. You can't control your spouse, but you certainly can control the people outside of the home that you hang around with, or, caveat, are influenced by. Because here's the thing. I want to talk about relationships. I want to talk about the importance of being intentional with those relationships. And I want you to do a relationship audit, because the greatest catastrophe, one of the major downfalls of my life, happened the day that I switched my friend group. And I have nothing against those guys. Nothing at all. I love them, actually. But when I started hanging around them, I started doing all the things that they did, which were watching The Simpsons, smoking a lot of drugs, doing a lot of drugs, partying a lot, and inevitably getting in trouble. I ended up getting in trouble with the law with that stuff. My life ended up being a downward spiral. I ended up getting super lazy. I ended up getting addicted. Nothing but negative things. But it all changed. The pivot point of that downfall was that moment that I accepted an invitation to go over to these guys' house and play as a part of their band. Because I was a pretty good drummer growing up. Some of you guys watch it may not know, or maybe you do, whatever. But I got grounded a lot as a kid because I was a gigantic knucklehead. And when you got a lot of time on your hands and something like drumming that you are really passionate about, I'm not kidding when I say I would practice 10, 12 hours a day. During the summer, I would practice the drums from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like, I'm so grateful that the neighbor that was closest to my drum room was like very, very, very old. I don't think she could have heard me. But my dad later told me that he could hear me walking out the back doors of the high school, which we were in the backyard of the high school. Like, he could hear me all the way back there. So I can't even, my poor parents, my poor sisters, Gina, Nicole, Christina, I'm so sorry for the terror that I put you through for just, I mean, like, the whole house would shake when I would practice drums. So anyway, you put 12 hours a day for years on end into something, you're going to get okay at it. So I was a pretty decent drummer, and I got invited to play in this metal band. Nothing wrong with the genre of metal or anything like that. But, and I was really flattered. Who doesn't love to be flattered? Who doesn't love to be invited to be a part of something, right? And I was a really insecure kid, like a lot of us were in high school, like a lot of us still are as adults. And so when somebody gives us attention, when somebody gives us an affirmation, or somebody validates us, it's so easy to just be swept along in that, and just because it edifies our own soul, not knowing what it's going to cost in the long run. So for me, changed my life, not for the better. And here's the other end of that. So it was about 4 years later when I had an experience where I had a dream where I cried out to God one night, and I just said, God, like, I need to know if you're real or not. It's a long story. Maybe I'll share that testimony another time. But my entire life was changed in a dream. You could almost kind of say that, like, that also is kind of ties into this relationship thing, this friend thing. Like, the quality of our life is the quality of our relationships, and we are who we hang around. Well, when Jesus entered my life, it changed me forever. Like, for the best. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. All right? But what ended up happening after this encounter with Jesus in this dream, again, which I'll go into some other day, changed my life forever. Actually, no, I'll share it right now, real quick. Have you ever heard of a near-death experience? Where somebody, like, comes close to death, where they have, like, their whole life flash before them? That's exactly what happened to me. Except my whole life wasn't in jeopardy. Like, I was laying on my bed one night, and I just cried out, and I said, God, I don't know you, but I'm sorry for my sins. It was the first time I was ever convicted of my sins in my life. And I said, please forgive me. I believe Jesus died for my sins. And that's all I said. Nobody told me to pray that prayer. It was just kind of crazy how it all happened. But that night, I had a dream, and like we all have dreams, right? Sometimes it's because of the pizza we ate, and sometimes it's because divine intervention. This was for sure divine intervention, because that night, as I drifted into sleep after praying that prayer, Jesus came to me, he took me by my right hand, and he walked me through my entire life. And it was like my entire life was on this big screen TV for all to see. And there was no fast forward, rewind, pause, delete, whatever. It was just all there. And I went to bed thinking I was a good person. I apologized for my sin. I said, God, I know I've made a bunch of mistakes, but I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thinking I was generally a pretty good guy. That movie told me who I really was. All the times I hurt people. I hurt so many people. All the times I stole so many things. I later went back and tried to make amends in all these different stores and stuff like that, but I know it's nowhere near all what I had taken. I was such a gigantic turd to my parents. I was the worst. Oh, thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate it, brother. And everything was on this TV, and there was nothing I could do to change it. And all of a sudden, I was devastated. I was dejected. I was like there was nothing I could say to change anything I had seen in this movie, which was my life at this time. And all of a sudden, the scene changed. And like I said, Jesus had grabbed my right hand. I was 21 years old at this time. It was must have been September of 2004. And Jesus took me, but he wasn't by my right side anymore. All of a sudden, the scene changed. And hey, Mary, great to have you. And all of a sudden, I wasn't next to Jesus anymore, but I was in a courtyard. And this was before the Passion of the Christ had come out. I'd never seen it before. And all of a sudden, in front of me, about, 10 feet? Not more than that. This man was hunched over this little wooden crate, and he had a crown of thorns on his head, and he was getting whipped and beaten and spit upon and mocked and scorned and kicked and shamed. And I was just an onlooker in like a semicircle, just watching all this unfold. And all of a sudden, I'm watching this transpire, and this man in front of me with this crown of thorns on his head turned over his left shoulder, and as real as I'm looking to this camera, that you can see my eyes, as real as that experience is, I looked into the eyes of the man in front of me, and my life was changed forever. In that instant that I locked eyes with that man in front of me, I knew that I knew. There's just no other way I can explain it. That he was paying the penalty for all those sins that I had just seen. That I had witnessed myself commit. I was so mean to people. I was so selfish. I stole so many things. I was so terrible to my parents. Honor your father and mother. That's actually a command. That's it's actually one of the first, it's the first command in the Bible with a blessing attached to it. If you do that, it promises to go well with you. Well, I didn't. I was totally rebellious. My parents could have said, Anthony, go down to the bank and withdraw $10,000 from our account and spend it on whatever you want. And I would have given them the middle finger, and I wouldn't have done it because I was so rebellious. I wanted so much my own sense of autonomy. And I was really, really out of control. And like I said, it's kind of ironic and crazy and funny because my dad was the principal of the local high school that I attended. And so since we have reconciled and we've come so far, and we went on to do meetings of with teenagers, we would actually do conferences where we would share both sides of our story and how we were able to overcome that, because a lot of parents right now are dealing with kids that they can't connect to, that are out of control, that are just having a really, really hard time. And so I wasn't planning on sharing any of that testimony, but it all ties into what I originally started this story with, was when my friends changed, my life changed. When my friends changed, my life changed. Okay. And so I went down this 4 years of just drug addiction, selfishness, just dependence on getting my next high, whatever. If it was today, I'd be dead. With what's going on with the fentanyl stuff today, it's everywhere. And you can't even take a chance on doing drugs because it'll kill you. That's all you need is a tiny speck of the wrong of fentanyl on a drug, and it's game over for you. I think it's 80,000 people, predominantly kids, have died from fentanyl overdoses since, 2012. It's devastating. I know, was it 5 people? It is soul crushing. that these young lives were cut short because of this drug. But anyway, I digress. And so anyway, I was a drug addict, and then I had this encounter. I had this dream with Jesus, and all of a sudden I had no desire to do drugs anymore. But I still had these same friends. Do you know what I had to do to change my life, to continue with my life going on an upward trajectory now? I had to throw away my phone. I literally turned off my phone and never turned it on again, and I got a new phone number. What did that do? All my old connections, all my old friends, I didn't have any contact with them anymore. And guess how many of them reached out to me after I hadn't talked to them? One did. And my life started going up and up and up and up and up. And it was because of my connection with Jesus. That was a huge thing. But then also the people that you hang around when you're going to buy drugs, believe it or not, are actually different than the people that you hang around when you want to get to know Jesus more. Hard to believe, right? And so in the same way, my life went straight down for 4 years. From the time I was a junior in high school, it started to go up following. And for the next 15 years. And then after I had worked with kids and I had done a lot of ministry, I worked with a lot of youth from all walks of life. I'd traveled all over the world, teaching, sharing what happened to me, how God totally changed my life. I started to want to make more money than I was in social work. And all of a sudden, in the same way that my life was changed for the negative when I started hanging around with those guys that were in the band, in the same way that my life changed for the better when I had that dream, and then when I started hanging around people that were also believers as well, and that had also had encounters with God that changed their life, my life changed again when I got around people who were really good with finances and business. And it just took me straight up with that. Like I had begged God, I'm like, God, if you could, I'd love to make $40,000. I'm big on that number, but that was the real number that I used during that time. And all of a sudden I was making so much more than that. It's stupid. And it was because of the people that I was hanging around with. What is my point? The quality of our life is directly connected to the quality of the people we're hanging around. And so it's one of the hardest things to do, but it's one of the most important things to do. If you're looking at the different areas of your life and you're not happy with how it's doing, like if you're really depressed, like if there's an area of your life that's just miserable for you, look at the people that are involved in that area of your life. Like so many people are so tempted to stay in a job that they hate, in an environment that's toxic, just because it's familiar, or it's because it's what they know, or it's because they make a lot of money. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his own soul? Okay? And so if you just hate your life every moment that you're going to work, I don't care how much you're making, it's not worth it. Right? How much would you pay for peace, for happiness? Right? And so I want you guys to examine the quality of your relationships in your life. And again, there's a whole bunch of relationships that you can't change. Your family, the people that you're around at your job, right? But those areas of your life that you can change who you're hanging around are so important. So important. That said, connecting that to a larger spectrum is examining your inputs. So your relationships are so vital. But believe it or not, you have a relationship with social media. You have a relationship with with YouTube, with the videos that you watch. What are you consuming? Because like if I sat around and ate Doritos all day, what would I look like physically? Yet, we can't expect to consume garbage or just politics or just negativity all day in our minds and expect to have a positive life. Huge part of that's contributed to our friend group, our social circle, who we choose to hang around with in our free time. Massive, 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 massive decision. But a huge part of that is what we choose to consume on social media, on the internet, on Netflix, on TV. Insert your favorite media medium. Okay? And so that being said, I want you guys to look at the quality of the content that you're consuming in your life, because there's a reason it's called the infinite scroll. It's so addictive. It's like we have all been to a place where we're mindlessly scrolling. What do you think that's doing to your soul, your spirit, your mind, your will, your emotions? Not much. Not much. Prince has the legend Prince, the musician who died a couple of years ago, has this amazing quote where he talks about a conversation he had with his friends, and he said, dude, you gotta watch, like what's the last horror movie you watched? What is it? And he told him, and he said, was it real good? And his friend's like, no, not really. And he said, tell me about it. And the friend told him all of these aspects of this movie, and it was just kind of nothing great about this movie. And Prince said to him, that movie will be a part of you now and forever. You can't unsee that movie. It is a part of you now, shaping you. And to the degree that you think about it, it is going to shape you more or less. But like, think about it. Even a tweet that you see, even a social media post that you see that you don't even agree with, right? It's still a part of you. Your brain is still engaging and processing and responding in your own mind to whatever you've seen. And so that's why it's so important to fill our lives with the things that make us come alive. So I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to try to go under 30 minutes rather than go all the way to 30 minutes and then just try to wrap it up and squeeze everything in at the end. And I want to share a quote that I love this quote so much. It's from civil rights leader Howard Thurman. It says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go and do it. Because what the world needs is people who come alive. Isn't that true? Like, what would the world look like if we were all living fully inspired and fully alive? I spend a lot of time imagining what that is. That's one of the driving factors of me doing these lives. I want to provide ideas, suggestions, a toolbox that would empower you, that would equip you, that would inspire you to come fully alive into the life that you've been created for. There are no ordinary humans on this planet. Nobody you ever talk to or come across in your day-to-day life is an ordinary person. Everybody has gifts and talents and abilities and experiences and wisdom and understanding and things to offer this life. But the problem is we get so drained, so focused on ourselves, and so just consumed with being a consumer that we forget that the reason that we're on this earth is to be a producer, is to give, to contribute, to serve, and to offer our gifts to the world to make it a better place. So with all that being said, friends, thank you so much for you guys that hung with me this whole broadcast. That's so I'm so honored. Thank you so much for that. I'm starting to put these upload these onto YouTube. You can I have my YouTube link in my Facebook page. I'd love for you to subscribe because I'd love to go live on YouTube instead of Facebook. But that's another day. We'll get there. But thank you so much for watching. It's an absolute honor that you would choose to spend your time with me. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Was anything that I said beneficial? Is there anything you'd like to contribute? Comment, message, absolutely anything. Like, this is a forum, and I need, like, teamwork makes the dream work, right? I would love for us all to just kind of like go all into like making each other better. And you might have something to say or to share or a perspective that I don't have, and that'll make me better. And like, if we're all giving our perspectives and our intention is to help and to serve and to make like ourselves and others and the world a better place, like, I don't think we can lose. So that's what I hope to do with this channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't thank you enough for your time. And let me know how I can help. Let me know if anything in this helped. Absolutely awesome to have you. Can't wait till the next time, this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. And can't thank you enough. And my friends, the best is yet to come. Let's choose our friends. Let's choose our inputs. Let's choose the things that we create in the environment of our lives wisely, so that we live inspired and we live energized and we live a life that makes the world and ourselves a better place. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Ryan. Great to see you, brother. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh. I just finished right as my timer went off. Miracles happen, my friends. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye-bye.